really awesome. So I beat the guy I played last week. I'm still in first place, 6-1. You saw my one loss I had. I posted in last week's video, which I lost with 120 points. I just want to throw that out there. The second thing is this guy right here, the guy I put a bounty on, he lost.
Suck.
He lost. The guy who beat him changed his name right away. They took a screenshot. They posted it in our league chat. They printed it out. They had it signed, and they put it on his desk. Now, that's hilarious. Like, you can't make this stuff up. Like, this worked out extremely well. Also, I'm going to go one more level deeper, and I did notice something when last week when he made a move, and I was like, man, this is going to cost him. I want to remember this. So, the one thing is he had Kels on his team. How do you lose with Kels on your team? Now, granted, you could just be really unlucky, slot bad people, whatever. He has decent people, and he knows what he's doing. He's just not picking up any waiver wires because he thinks it's going to save him later in the league. But aside from that, this guy had almost 40 points. It's like worth 3 people, at least. And maybe even more, right? Like, if you add all this up, he's beat all these people. Like 4 in that case. Anyways, so how did he lose? Well, he lost by 9 points. Which is, pretty close. He was going to get 120, he didn't, and this guy was going to get 96, and he got almost 120. Well, I just want to point out that if he had this guy on his team instead of Sky Moore, he would have won because the difference is like 13 points, and he only needed like 10. Sky Moore got 3.5. Now, here's what's really funny about Sky Moore. He picked him up and placed him right like the day of the game, and I want to point out this because this is hilarious. I had Sky Moore, and I dropped him because here's why. If you look at his points, he started doing really good, right? For whatever reason, first week he did crap, but then he was on fire, did okay, and then nothing. So I dropped him. I was like, this guy's unreliable, don't need him.
Damn,
so
I'm
some
good.
great advice for anybody. This is a lot like gambling, where you're just taking a chance based on what you know, and who knows what could happen. But I'll tell you one thing that will work for a lot of people. You need to find reliable people who are decent and can blow up. You don't want to rely on wild cards that may or may not blow up, hoping they'll blow up, because hope is not a good strategy. If you have somebody like Kels, who's averaging like 15 to 20 points a game, that's consistent, right? You can count on that. Now, on the off chance that their team does like a couple more touchdowns a game, chances are they're probably going to see most of that progress, so they're going to do even better. And that's what happened here. So that just gives you an example of, you don't want to be picking somebody that's going to be like a Hail Mary, even though it's a beautiful strategy when you try to win a point in football by throwing the football all the way down the thing. But it can get intercepted, it can get missed. Like, it literally is a Hail Mary. So if you want to drop your odds to winning 1 out of 10 versus maybe 50-50, go for it. You know what I mean? Do whatever makes you feel better. But I'm telling you, statistically speaking, you want to pick people who are average, and if they blow up, you do better, and not pick a bunch of Hail Mary people that you're just praying that something goes right on. Anyways, so that's that. Those are the 2 awesome things we'll go over this week, and this is funny. The league actually is getting along very well. We all work very closely together. This is actually provided us an opportunity to like push each other to try harder, and it's brought out a lot of good conversations and just things we've had fun with. Now we're getting in the habit of printing out pictures and signing them to people that lose and just having a little bit extra fun. There's a little bit of money on the line. It's not like a lot, but we're just having some fun with it. So this guy I sit next to at work, and he accused me of being a little arrogant. And is that true? It probably is a little bit. I'm very competitive, and sports isn't really my thing, but analyzing things and playing the data game, that is my thing. So what happened is really quickly, I noticed an opportunity. I noticed that this guy is questionable. So typically speaking, you want to be very careful leaving questionable people on your roster because they could be out. It could be changed last minute. You never know, right? So if you have somebody else on your team that's not questionable, just like I talked about before, you don't want to do a Hail Mary. You want to get somebody who you could rely on that will get points. Now, if you're already so far ahead that you could afford them getting no points and still win, and the off chance that they play and they're going to get like 20 points, maybe. So I looked at this guy and I said, well, this team, they get a lot of points off tight ends. So that's their game. So I said, well, what does that mean for the other positions? This is called a depth chart. So for every position, they have like the top depth to least depth chart based on a lot of stuff in the background and what they predict. So Wahan Johnson is now on the top of the depth chart, and T. Hill is not. So what does that mean? I looked up some articles, and Johnson is actually a really good tight end. I looked at how he did in 2022. He actually did okay. He's not extremely consistent all the time, but he gets some high points, and more often than not. And he's been hurt this year, so that's why he hasn't been doing very well. So I'm hoping that if he can get over the 7 line, maybe 8 or 9, then maybe he'll blow up. And the article I read was something of this nature. The coach is working very closely with this guy. They suspect that they've been sharing the tight end position with 3 people, and this guy's going to get most of the sharing time now. So what does that mean? That means I can stack all their points to this guy, and even if the team's only getting like 2 touchdowns a game, and this guy's involved in them, you're looking at some points. So anyways, I went ahead and picked him up. The other reason I picked him up is because this guy, he does not have another tight end, which is dangerous. You want to make sure you can swap people around if you need to. It's always a good strategy. So I went ahead and picked up Conklin. I picked up the other guy, and then I did a little bit of bragging. I told him, hey, I'm going to crush you. I went ahead and looked at your tight end position, and I predicted this guy's going to come and get some points, and your guy isn't. And then I also said, oh, and by the way, I picked up the best defense for that week, so good luck. Which it did. I picked up New York Jets, and I did it before the waiver wire drop, because what happens is, in the defense positioning, a lot of people just pick up defense based on how they're playing, which is normally what you do. Some teams are just really good all the way around. You leave them on. So I started just moving it up a little bit early. In fact, I now not only have this week's, I also have next week's, because now that I'm giving the strategy away, I don't want... Week 9 is the week I'm worried about the most. So I went ahead and picked it up so I don't have to worry about somebody, sneaking my strategy away from me. So I did that, and he got a little nervous. He said he didn't, but he did, and here's how I know. A trade got thrown up to trade Samuel for these 2. That's a pretty potentially good tight end, and he's a fair running back. And then I think it's lopsided. I looked at the points and was like, yeah, 30 points for 16. But honestly, he might be losing. When D. Samuel comes back, and if he did make it to the finals, that might be a really powerful guy to have. I noticed he added a better defense on there. He put the Chargers up there, which are going to do better than the Rams. Well, they should do better than the Rams this week. I noticed that he switched his kicker around. So he actually took some time to do a little bit of research to try to stop this from happening. What's this? The percentage? 28% law. 28% is where he's at. That's his chances. So I texted him the next day, and I said, what's happening with your guy? My guy blew up, and your guy didn't, because he gave some of his passes to somebody else. But anyways, it's all good fun. We're having a blast. We'll see how this week goes, and I will keep following up. And if I do end up losing, I will just maybe follow up still. Who knows? But in the meantime, I'm going to keep riding this wave and enjoying it as much as I can. And thank you all for watching. Go ahead and like. Go ahead and subscribe. And hopefully I could change up some videos and how I'm doing them and make this fun for everybody.
I'm an equal opportunity ass kicker.